Welcome back to a new session, children. Today we are going to learn part B of your economics paper, that is Indian economic development, the second chapter of Indian economic development. In the first chapter, you already learned how was Indian economy during the time of independence, how the Britishers exploited the resources of Indian economy, and what was the condition of agricultural sector, industrial sector, demography during the period of British rule. So, we learned what all policies they followed in our country to exploit our resources. Within 200 years, they could exploit all the resources. We became the exporter of raw materials and they could import the finished goods to our country and made a huge amount of wealth. So, all these ways they could exploit us. Now, with the gain of independence in 1947, we became complete free from the British rule. Now, from that time onwards, it became the responsibility of the government to find a new economic system to bring back our country from stagnancy to prosperous economy. You learned how Britishers converted our prosperous economy to a stagnant, amputated economy, backward economy, depleted economy, etc. So, from that condition, how to bring back Indian economy to the olden days prosperous economy, that was the main aim of the Indian government, to bring back the economy to a prosperous economy. So, the main task before the Indian government was to frame an economic system which could give prosperity to our economy. So, their main aim was to evolve an economic system, a proper economic system which can give economic prosperity to our country should be evolved. That was the main difficult task before the Indian government. So, in this chapter, we are going to learn regarding the economic system that the government has evolved. So, the time period of 1950 to 1990 will be the time period that we are going to focus in this particular chapter. I told you the main task before the government was to frame out a proper economic system which could give prosperity to our economy. Now, let us start the chapter by defining the concept of economic system. What is an economic system? An economic system refers to an arrangement by which the central problems are solved. Every economy has got central problems. Solving these central problems, it is a very risky job. So, government has to decide how these central problems can be solved. So, an economic system which can solve all these central problems should be evolved. So, what is an economic system? An economic system refers to an arrangement. Some arrangements have to be made to solve the central problems. So, you all know, you have learned about the central problems of an economy. You can recollect the central problems that you have learned in class 11 in microeconomics. The central problems are what to produce and in what quantities, how to produce and for whom to produce. So, economic system is an arrangement in which how the central problems can be solved. So, to evolve a proper economic system, that was the major task in front of the government. Now, let us see about the central problems of an economy. So, central problems of an economy are what to produce and in what quantities. What does this mean, what to produce? Government has to decide the combination of goods that has to be produced. Combination of goods. When we write goods, we will add services along with that. Combination of goods and services that has to be produced. You have learned in class 11 regarding the production of gun and butter. Just recollect what you have learned in class 11 regarding that. Economy has to produce all the goods. So, what type of good and in what quantity, that has to be decided. So, combination of goods which has to be produced should be decided by the government to solve the central problems. Next central problem is how to produce. Production should take place in an economy for the consumption, because as long as people are there in the economy, consumption will take place. Therefore, how to produce the goods. Now, what is this question relating to? Techniques of production. So, this question relates to techniques of production. Techniques of production. Which are the two techniques of production? Labor intensive technique and capital intensive technique. You have learned this also. Labor intensive technique and capital intensive technique. What is labor intensive technique? Using more labor and less capital is known as labor intensive technique. What is capital intensive technique? Using more capital and less labor is known as capital intensive technique. So, how to produce, with what technique it has to produce, which is more profitable for a country to produce, either with capital or labor intensive, or which is more apt for a country according to the situation. That is with regard to the question how to produce. Now comes the next question, for whom to produce. For whom to produce? The produced goods has to be distributed among different sections of society. So, this deals with distribution of goods. Distribution of goods among different sections of society. Among different sections of society. So, an economic system is an arrangement to solve the central problems of an economy. These are the central problems of an economy. This has to be solved. To solve these problems, some arrangement has to be made. That arrangement is known as an adoption of proper economic system. Now, let us see the next topic, types of economic system. Mainly, there are three types of economic system. So, India had to decide which economic system is apt for our country during that time period, soon after the independence, because the main aim was to bring back India to a prosperous economy. Therefore, it was a challenge to the government to decide which economic system the government has to adopt. So, mainly three types of system was prevalent, and the three types are capitalist system, socialist system and a mixed system. That is capitalist economy, socialist economy and mixed economy. Now, let us see the features of all these types of economy in detail. Now, let us first discuss with regard to capitalist economy. What is a capitalist economy? An economy in which means of production are owned and operated by the private owners or private sector. The production, its distribution, everything is decided. Its ownership is fully to whom? The private sector or private owners. That is known as a capitalist system. So, capitalist economy is an economy in which the means of production are owned and it is decided and operated by the private individuals, existence of private sector. So, when it is an existence of private sector alone, you can just imagine what will be the motive behind them. Their motive is nothing other than that, only profit motive. That is what I have written. Production is done mainly for earning profit. That is their main motive. They wanted to make huge profit. So, that kind of a system is known as the capitalist system. Now, let us examine how the central problems of an economy are solved in this capitalist economy. So, the main aim of the government is to evolve a proper economic system where the central problems can be solved. And we have started discussing three types of economy: capitalist, socialist and mixed economy. Now, let us see how these three economies are going to solve the central problems of what to produce, how to produce and for whom to produce. Now, in a capitalist economy, how the central problems are solved in a capitalist economy. Now, you know that the first central problem is what to produce. Let us see what happens in a capitalist economy. Under the capitalist economy, what to produce? What do you mean by that? In a capitalist economy, they will produce only those goods Only those goods are produced which can be sold profitably in the domestic and foreign market. I told you their main motive is to make profit. So, what type of goods will be produced by them? The goods which can give more profit for them by selling it in the foreign market as well as in the domestic market. Only those types of good will be produced because their main aim is earning profit. So, only those goods which can give them more profit in the domestic market as well as in the foreign market will be produced by the capitalist economy. Now, the second problem, how to produce. The goods are produced using cheaper technique. The main aim of the capitalist is to make profit. So, with what technique they can make the produce at a cheaper rate, only that technique they will adopt. It can be either labor intensive or capital intensive depending on the situation. Now, the next one, for whom to produce? Okay. That is mainly associated with distribution of produced goods as I told you. Now, let us see in a capitalist economy how that problem is solved. Goods produced are distributed not on the basis of the needs of people but on the basis of their purchasing power. Here in the capitalist economy, it has got one particular feature. Goods are produced not on the basis of the needs of the people. That means all the sections of the people are not considered. Only those who have purchasing power will be encouraged. For example, in a society, if the majority of the people are richer sections, the capitalist or the private owners will be interested to produce only those goods which those richer sections can buy. Let us give an example of a motorbike and a car. A person who is rich will be interested to buy only the four-wheelers, and he will not be interested to buy two-wheelers because they cost less and only two people can travel in that. But whereas in a four-wheeler, more people can travel. Therefore, richer sections will definitely go for the four-wheelers. Therefore, in a capitalist economy, the maximum production will go for four-wheelers because as per the survey, if the richer sections are more, if they can afford to buy it, definitely they will go for that because their main aim is profit motive. They are not concerned about the other sections of the people. If they are not able to buy the car, they need not travel in a four-wheeler, they can opt for a two-wheeler. So, that is the best example which you can use for differentiating this in a capitalist economy. So, in a capitalist economy, these three problems are solved in this way. I hope it is clear to you. Now, we will move on to socialist economy, just opposite of capitalist economy. In a capitalist economy, if it is owned by the private individuals, in a socialist economy, definitely it will be by government. So, let us see the definition of socialist economy. Socialist economy is an economy in which means of production are controlled and owned by the government. So, if the means of production are controlled and owned by the government, what will be the motive? Profit or welfare? Definitely it will be welfare motive because government always exists for the welfare of the people. So, it is a welfare motive. Now, let us see, that is why I have written here welfare motive. So, here the production, means of production are controlled and owned by the government. Now, how are the central problems solved in the socialist economy? So, government, the main task of the government is to select a good economic system. A good economic system is an arrangement where central problems are solved. Now, let us see in a socialist economy how the central problems are going to get solved. Now, what is the first problem? What to produce? How this solved? How it is solved in a socialist economy? Goods are produced in accordance with the needs of the society. What to produce? Government will conduct a survey on the needs of the people, on the population. On the basis of their needs, goods will be produced. So, goods are available for all sections of the people. Okay. Now, next one, how to produce? How to produce? The government decides on the basis of the situation prevailing in the economy. What is the situation prevailing in the economy? On the basis of that, the government will decide whether it should be a labor intensive or capital intensive. If more technology has to be imported, it is a very high cost for the government. So, government will depend on labor intensive. If more unemployment is found by the government will adopt labor intensive technique, because through labor intensive technique more people can be given employment. So, if unemployment is prevailing, labor intensive technique will be used. So, depending on the situation prevailing on the economy, government will decide which technique has to be adopted. Now, let us see the next one, for whom to produce. Here, production is based on what people need and distribution on what they can afford to purchase. No categories are ignored. In the capitalist system we saw the poorer sections are ignored, but here government will produce both four-wheelers, two-wheelers as well as bicycles, where all the categories of people can afford. Richer section can afford four-wheelers, a poor person can afford bicycles. So, everything is being produced in an economy according to the needs of the people. No categories are ignored. So, welfare motive. So, this is how the three problems are solved in a socialist system. Now, we will move on to the next one, mixed economy. What is a mixed economy? A mixed economy is a system where private and public sector is allotted their own respective roles for the solving of central problems. So, in a mixed economy means a combination of the features of both capitalist economy and socialist economy. So, existence of both private sector and public sector is known as mixed economy. That is mixed economy. Now, in a mixed economy, then how the central problems are solved both by the public sector as well as the private sector. Public sector will, government sector or public sector will produce goods for the welfare of the people. Private sectors will produce goods for the profit motive. So, existence of both private welfare motive and profit motive is there in a mixed economy. Now, our question is, which economy India adopted after the independence? India adopted a mixed economy with the best features of socialist and capitalist economy. So, India adopted a mixed economy after the independence, which consisted of the features of both socialist economy and capitalist economy for its existence. So, under the leadership of Jawaharlal Nehru, he favored a mixed economy where the features of both socialist economy and capitalist economy exist. So, this was the economic system that was adopted by India for solving all the central problems of an economy and to bring back India to a situation where prosperity can be gained. Hope it is clear to you. Thank you.